more isn't better.
No.
Sometimes
less is a lot better. It's more of the psychological
let you
that you create
let
in
you
their head.
Create what happened,
Yeah, what that monster looks like.
Yeah, so I get it, but at the same time, this movie didn't need it. You know, it really didn't. And is
this movie actually?
All right, we are back again. Welcome back to Honey and Boo
Movie review.
All right, one of these days here, you'll get your cue.
You're funny.
All right, so we have a little confession to make here. Okay, so our first ever movie review was on the movie what?
Crazy Fat Ethel.
All right. After doing that one, we found out a little something.
Yeah, so we found out Crazy Fat Ethel is a remake of the 1975 film Criminally Insane.
Criminally Insane. All right, and this actress, what is her name?
The actress in Criminally Insane was Priscilla Alden.
Yes, and she looks strikingly similar.
Yes, to Dixie.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy. We almost thought, is that her mother or something? Okay, but listen, before I'm getting ahead of ourselves here because we got a lot to talk about on this one. All right, but let us get over with our introductions. Okay, so once again, I am Boo, and I am delighted to have the ever-charming Honey here.
Hi!
All right, and so we are going to review the movie Criminally Insane. Once again, it was made in it was actually made, from what I found out, in 1973, but it was released in 75. All right, so there is quite a bit to unpackage here. Now, this movie can be found on the app Fossum. It was Fossum and
Plex is where you can find Criminally Insane.
Yes. Now, this was directed by a man named Nick Millard, and it was starring Priscilla Alden and Michael Flood.
Was Jane Lambert, and the director was, Nick Millard.
All right, now there's some interesting little things about this movie. When we came across this. All right, this movie is rated R.
Yes, this movie is rated R and has less violent things taking place.
Yes.
I mean, there are people still being killed, but not quite as violently as in the remake Crazy Fat Ethel.
Yeah, now here's another interesting fact that I saw, is this original movie was only an hour and 1 minute long. I mean, literally just an hour long in length. Now, the remake was an hour and 21 minutes, if I remember right. But yeah, it's a very short movie, and I'd like to kind of go over a couple of things of what they had posted in IMDb that I found. Now, the synopsis for this movie is: an obese woman recently released from an insane asylum kills anyone who attempts to get her to stop eating. All right, they gave it a 5.4 of 10, I guess, stars.
Which is a different plot line than in the remake.
Yeah.
In the remake, it was a violent act that created this killing monster.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive in, okay? All right. The movie started off, okay, I was already starting to get annoyed by the director from the very beginning because he does these extremely just unnecessary close-ups to things at the beginning. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, he just insane close-up shots.
Yeah, those are only suitable for certain things.
All right, but the story starts off just like in the remake that we saw. It starts off in an insane asylum.
Yes, it does.
But with a shocking difference.
Yes, exactly.
And what was that?
The difference is that in the remake, it's a violent act that the two orderlies do to her.
Mm-hmm.
That is the catalyst. But in the original, that's not it. She's fighting with them because they're trying to put her in her straitjacket.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't get much backstory. She claims that they were trying to kill her. Yes. But she never goes into detail. So now we're finding out that the director of the remake took some liberties. Some definite liberties to maybe explain what happened to her to make her this way.
Why she went crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
So I don't fault him for that, you know.
Yeah, but there's a lot. It's a lot. The remake was a lot bloodier.
Yes. Yes, it was. And sometimes, I think you'd have to agree with me on this, sometimes more isn't better.
No.
You know,
sometimes less is a lot better. It's more of the psychological
thing
that you create in their head.
Create what happened, you know?
Yeah, what that monster looks like.
Yeah, so I get it, but at the same time, this movie didn't need it. You know, it really didn't. And this
movie actually, even though it was shorter and it was, you know, the script was different to a degree than the remake, it moved at a faster pace.
Yes. Yes, it did.
The storyline moved faster.
And remind me about that one. Well, you know what? I may forget, so I'm going to go ahead and touch this now. That was something I noticed on IMDb. Mm-hmm. You've got to listen to this review real quick, all right? And you know what? No, I'm going to save it to the end because I don't want this review to taint your thoughts on what you saw on this, okay? So just remind me afterwards. We'll go over this review because I think it's spot on. Okay. All right, so let's unpackage this, okay? So as I said, it starts off in with some close-ups. It starts off with it in the insane asylum, but she's getting shock treatment. Remember? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess she's pissed off about that. All right, but there is no trauma. You know, the R trauma.
There's no forced violence.
Yeah. And they go quickly into, which here's another change. It's not the aunt that comes to get her released.
No, it's Granny.
Yeah, so the original character for this movie, for this story, was actually the grandmother. Now I never caught her name. They just said Granny.
They just called her Granny.
Yeah. Okay, so Granny brings her home. And there is no Uncle Joe in this one or anything like that.
No, that's true too. There's no mention of an Uncle Joe.
No.
Or a Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, that was all just added stuff from the remake. But then comes the familiarity, you know, just okay, all right, this is, you know, along the same lines, and it starts off with the pound of bacon breakfast.
Yes, and like 7 or 8 eggs, you know, it's just like...
And she did half a loaf of bread for toast and all that, and there was line for line in this scene. I don't know if you noticed it too, but, you know, it was the aunt in the remake, but Granny comes in and is like, I thought I smelled bacon, and then she's like, oh, I think I'm just going to have coffee, you know, and, yeah, once again, I'm like, yeah, because that's probably all there is in the damn house at this point, you know, but she did the same thing. So, the director of the remake took, you know, some direct quotes and stuff.
Yeah, but he also took liberties with rewriting the script and putting in all the crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what do you have on your notes at this point?
Well, basically that in the remake, you had a younger woman playing the role. And in the original, the actress was a little older.
Yes.
That's another difference.
Very mannish, too, I might add. I'm sorry.
Stop.
But
I'm just saying that there was a difference because of the age difference. There's a different way that they both portrayed the same character.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go step by step because that's how I kind of take my notes and stuff. And you just chime in whenever, okay? Okay. All right, honey. All right. So I did make a note of this, and I want to see your thoughts and take on it.
Okay. I
put in here better acting. Okay, because Ethel, the actress who played Ethel, Priscilla Alden, I thought she was great. I believed her to be Ethel. Mm-hmm. Never once, I'm sorry to say, but never once in the remake did I believe that this lady was actually Ethel. I just thought it was a woman that was cast very poorly, and the only reason why is because she fit the weight requirement.
Okay.
But I'm just saying...
Don't be mean.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. I'm really not. I just don't think... I think she was subpar. I mean, she was just so... Just phoning it in, man. Okay.
Would you say kind of like a monotone?
Yeah,
maybe?
Very monotone. Very monotone. All right, but this lady, she was good. And, I was like, okay, all right. So I made a note of that, but then I also made a note shortly after about snacking upstairs. Okay, so she, there's actually stairs in this apartment, and she's having to walk up and down those stairs quite a bit throughout this movie.
Yeah, she fixes herself a snack and she takes it all upstairs.
Like an entire box of Nilla wafers. And
almost an entire bag of
saltwater taffy, wasn't it? Yeah.
And a whole thing of milk.
Yeah, so there was a lot of snacking, but I thought it was funny about the her having to go up and down the damn stairs.
But you have to admit, we didn't see her snacking or eating as much as in the remake either.
No, but now I didn't hear it. I can't recall if they actually said where they were, but I can pretty much guarantee you that was San Francisco.
No, they never really said where they were.
Yeah, it looked like San Francisco
because in the original, it was the big city. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But in the remake, it was it gave the appearance of it being a small town.
Yeah, it did seem smaller in the remake. But, okay, so after that is when she realizes there's no food in the fridge now. Nothing. It's completely empty.
Yeah, she comes downstairs, and that was after she got the snack.
And the pantry was locked again, so that was the same. Except the only difference is, in the remake, it was like a full-size closet-size pantry. Yeah. Whereas in the original, it's like a cupboard that's locked.
And it's got a lock on it, and she can't get into it, and so she gets into it with Granny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She really does get into it with Granny, and, well, I'm going to say this right now. It should go without, saying, but spoilers ahead. All right? You have been warned. All right, so, yeah, Granny gets a knife to the back, and then just the weirdest thing, I was like, that one knife to the back was enough to do her in, but poor old girl, she's laying there on her back, and still clutching the key, with what life she has left, and this is when you got up for a second, but she takes this butcher knife, and she knifes the shit out of her hand until the keys finally released. I mean, the woman was already dead. She could have just opened her hand. But no, that's not good enough for Ethel. She has to actually knife the hand. And A lot of blood, no real gore though. There's something about this that I saw in the remarks down below, but they made a remark about some of the goofs is the fact that you see a lot of blood, but no actual cut marks on any of the bodies.
Yeah. So. That is true. And that was, a little slip up on the part of the director of continuity.
Yeah. If they so exist. I'm beginning to think they're a mythical creature. All right. She kills Granny, and then she drags old girl upstairs. Okay, once again, these damn stairs. It's the bane of her existence.
It was a very long flight of stairs, too.
Yeah, but she drags old girl up the stairs.
She puts her into a room, and she locks the door.
Locks the door, because that's what you do when you kill somebody in the house. You just lock the door and hope it all goes away.
And then who shows up?
Actually, well, not yet, okay? This is why I take the notes.
I'm just asking you who shows up next.
Nobody yet until she makes it happen, because she goes and robs Granny's purse and like a coin collection or something. I mean, she just grabs whatever change she can, comes up with like a total of like $4 and some stuff.
Yeah, $4 and something.
Yeah, and calls the grocery store to have some groceries delivered. All right, so it always trips me out when you watch in the 70s and stuff, anything from the 70s, and they're talking about, that young kid or whatever, they're just young teens or whatever. All these people, they look like full-grown men, and that is, okay, I'm getting on my soapbox here for a second.
Yeah, stop.
No, I'm going to say. We
gotta get through this.
But that's the difference between then and now, man. Now we have 30-year-olds wearing fucking Donald Duck hats and stuff, thinking they're cool. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, okay. All right. But so she orders groceries, and then the delivery boy this time around.
Yeah, the delivery boy who was. Hold on a second. I can give you a name. He actually had a name.
Okay.
Glenn Dickey.
All right.
Delivery boy.
Glenn Dickey.
That was the name.
Male prostitute.
No, he was not.
Well, the name is not Glenn Dickey. I mean, I think he'd do all right.
No. Stop.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, so he comes to bring the food, but he's like, I need $80, and she's like, well, just set the box down. He's like, I can't, I need the money. Well, I only have $4 and stuff. That's all I got.
Like $4.80 or something like that.
So he turns around to leave with the box of goodies, and she quickly pulls out the bottle. It's like a wine bottle or that sparkling cider thing, and then bashes him over the head with it. You got up during this time, too. You'll have
that
to...
was kind of...
Yeah, she was busy. She was cooking dinner. Duty. So, yeah. All forgiveness, milady. All right, but...
You're so sweet.
So, he gets bashed over the head.
Mm-hmm.
And then she quickly goes to town with him with the damn butcher knife again. All right? Stabs him, and he's done. All right? And so now she's got groceries. Then...
Her sister shows up.
That's right. The sister comes by to visit. Now, if you guys saw the last episode, I'm sure you're saying, but boo, what are you talking about? There was no sister. It was Cousin Rose. Not this time around. The original was actually Sister Rosalie. So that's where we get Rose from. But Rosalie is actually the sister, and she comes to town. Now, she's still a whore. Let's don't make any mistakes there. She's still
You're just not going to sugarcoat anything, huh?
She was still a lady of the night or daytime, whenever it suited her. All right, to make a few bucks. But yeah, but this time it was sis. Okay, so she comes to stay. She talks about her boyfriend that, that's why she didn't want to be home.
John, that likes to beat her.
Yeah, because he beat the shit out of me. Okay, I wonder why. So she decides to stay, and she's asking, well, where's Grandma? Well, Grandma left for a few days, right, on a trip.
Yeah, we both know that's not true.
Exactly. But I made a note of this. I'm glad I did, too, because it just cracks me up. And I say things to make myself laugh, okay? If anybody else laughs at what I say, fine, that's a bonus. Otherwise, don't care.
That's a true fact.
That is all me. All right, but Sister was like walking around in the house and she's like, oh, what's that smell? She's like, smells like Grandma shit the bed before she left on her trip.
Okay, at this point, Grandma has been laying upstairs for what we assume to be
a couple of days.
Couple days, Granny's been laying up there. Yeah. So she's starting to
she's getting a little ripe.
To be fragrant.
Yeah.
And
so the next scene that I wrote down is okay, because can we agree on this? Ethel's not very smart. She's not the brightest, murderer.
She thinks in the moment.
Yeah. So her next moment of thinking is she realizes that things are starting to stink upstairs, okay? I got like two...
I've got Granny and I just added a body.
Yeah, so I got 2 bodies rotting upstairs. I got to do something. So she starts digging in the backyard at the rose garden or whatever, trying to dig a hole. And this nosy-ass neighbor's like leaning over the fence and everything is like, hey, I told your grandmother... you weren't going to be able to plant hardly nothing there because nothing wants to grow.
Yeah, it's back there full of rocks.
Yeah. He's like, you're not going to be able to dig very far. It's full of rocks. And she proclaims that she's got a dead cat that she's got to get rid of. And he's like, well, just throw it away in the garbage.
Her excuse? It smells too bad.
Yeah.
What garbage do you know ever smells too bad to be thrown in the garbage?
Yeah, I don't know. But she quickly realizes that's a no-go. It's not going to happen. And from what I wrote next was that then I put this in here. I put sometimes you need a good beating. And then, to segue into our next segment of Sister decides to get back with the boyfriend. But before that happens, Sister is doing the same thing what she did in the remake, in that she's having customers. Yeah, come over and she's diddling them there at the house. All right, and then next thing, she's at the bar again, and she runs into her boyfriend, and she proceeds to go ahead and take him back to the house, and they make up. And he's telling her, well, I love you, girl. And she's like, well, if you love me so much, why you beat the shit out of me? And his reply was, what I put on my bullet point here was like that, sometimes, all women need a good beat.
Yeah, that's not an endorsement, ladies.
No.
No. We do not endorse that type of thing.
Took it like a champ. Anyway, all right.
Excuse him.
Yeah. So, I thought that was funny.
He fell on his head as a kid.
Yeah, several times. All right. So now the doctor comes by to visit. Okay, and I put that, he was killed Clue style. All right. And why was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, because he was killed at the front door with a bottle.
No, I even made a joke of it. I was like, oh, look, the doctor was killed in the hallway with the candlestick.
Oh, that's right. The candlestick. Yes. This enormous candlestick that she got it from out of nowhere.
Huge. And she beat that man to death. Oh, my gosh. But, so, yeah, she killed the doc. Sister wakes up as a result of it.
She wakes up in the middle of her killing him in the bed next to her boyfriend in the bed next to her.
Yeah, we hadn't got to that part yet.
I know.
Okay. No, but Sis wakes up, hears the noise, checks, but by that time, Ethel had already dragged him away. All right.
All these bodies she's dragged up the stairs.
And the blood trail. I mean...
Yeah, there wasn't one.
These are all stabbings and blunt force trauma and stuff, man.
There should have been blood all over the stairs.
Oh, yeah. No. But then I made a note of this one because it's like very similar to what happened in the remake was that I put John gets a sweet roll. Okay, because I noticed they made a scene of that where they were sitting at the breakfast table and Ethel comes in. In the remake, she comes in with this plate of turnovers. Like apple turnovers. Like a whole tray of them.
There's they were huge, though, so it was like 3 or 4 on this.
I think it was at least 4, yeah. At least.
But they were big.
Yeah. And John proceeds to ask, can I have one? And she goes ahead and lets him have one. Now, in the original, it was a sweet roll. All right? And she, once again, gives him a sweet roll. All right? But then I put on here, they go to another scene of Rosalie, the sister, and her boyfriend John, not to be confused with a John, but they're sitting in the room, and this dude is putting on makeup, all right? He's trying to make it sound like it is like all the cool guys are doing this, you know? If you want to get into the movies and stuff, you got to put on.
But like you said, movies, his ambition is that he's going to be famous. He's going to be in movies, right? That's his thing.
But I put on here...
that's his excuse of why he cheated on her.
Yeah. But I also put on here that she can't stop laughing at him because, you know, it just looks girly as shit to her. And he finally turns to her and calls her a stupid whore. It's just like, wow, okay. And then it goes from there to they're downstairs hanging out with Ethel in the room. Well, she's eating a full cake, I might add. All right. And John is sitting next to Rosalie on the couch, and he's all copping a feel on her and kiss. I mean, if he could have...
It's behavior that should be behind doors.
If he could have porked her right there, he would have. I'm just saying. He would have. All right. But,
we don't want that.
Ethel was just paying it no mind, just eating her cake, just whatever.
Watching TV.
Yeah. And then, next scene after that, the cop comes by to visit. And he starts asking questions. More questions. You know, it's just questions because this delivery boy. He hasn't been seen in 3 days. You were the last person he delivered to. What the hell? All right. And Ethel says she never saw him after that, and that was the end of it. All right. And then it goes into John smells something. Finally, they're starting to notice.
It's been several more days, and now John is completely aware of the fact that, you know what? There is something dead in this house somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot not recognize that smell. I don't understand, you know? This is the same thing with, Dahmer's...
apartment building.
Yeah, apartment and his neighbor. I mean, you know, if you've ever smelled the scent of death, you never forget that. You don't, you know? But anyway... so, yeah, John smells something, and he's, he realizes it's coming from Grandma's room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they attempt to try and get in, and she catches them.
Yeah, and well, they're like, well, we need the key, and Ethel says, well,
Grandma will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's like, well, if she doesn't, I'm going to break this door down. Find out what's in here. They're thinking it's like a dead animal or something.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, so she waits till like late at night,
mm-hmm.
and then we finally see it. The infamous freaking meat cleaver. Okay, that you've seen in like the posters and stuff. But
mm-hmm.
All right, so she goes right over there and proceeds to just very quickly hack the shit out of John.
Yeah, John gets hacked, and in the process of this, he's screaming, and at first there's no reaction from the girlfriend. You're wondering, how is it he's getting murdered in the bed next to you? You don't hear him.
Well, she wakes up, and
yeah, eventually,
yeah, and screams and begs for her life and stuff. I'm your sister, blah blah blah, and yeah, it doesn't matter. Rosalie, once again, gets hers.
Yeah.
So now she's got 2 more bodies. She keeps them in the living room for a little bit and is talking to them like everything's all back to normal and stuff now. But then she eventually, I think, takes them upstairs. And it was...
She has them in their bed.
Mm-hmm. Now, which is a good thing because, remember, well, there's something that happens before this, but the cop does come back and he asks more questions. But before that happens, we finally get that weird dream sequence.
Oh, the red dress.
Yeah. So there's a red dress sequence where she's dreaming and stuff. And once again, it's a fat woman dancing around in a park and by a cemetery and stuff. It's weird artsy kind of stuff or whatever. And I mean, if I was doing a remake, I don't know if I really necessarily would keep that in, but he did, whatever. I don't know the significance of it.
I understand that it was a dream, but its purpose.
Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, after that, the cop comes back asking more questions, and he's starting to get his real suspicions that Ethel knows more than she's letting on. All right, and he can tell she's a terrible liar. Terrible liar.
Like I said, she lives in the moment.
So now Ethel's like starting to kind of panic a little bit and is realizing, I got to get rid of these bodies,
Yeah, because at this point she's got Grandma, she's got Dickie the delivery boy,
old Dickie.
She's got the doctor.
Uh-huh.
She's got her sister and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So she's got 5 bodies sitting in that house.
Yeah.
That she's now got to get rid of.
Yeah. That have happened all within a matter of a few days.
Yes.
So, yeah. So she starts hacking up the bodies, making them a little more manageable to put in these like bags and stuff. Cases. Yeah. So she drags this shit out the house. Broad
daylight.
Broad daylight.
Down the steps.
With the neighbor out front. And I'm just like, really? Really? I mean...
But you have to admit that it didn't look like she was carrying a body. Why? Because there was no blood seeping through any of these pillowcases.
You know damn well that would not be the case, man. She'd be dragging all kinds of shit all over the house, man. And down those stairs, just drip, drip, drip. No. It would not have been that clean. Okay, but the neighbor's like, when's Grandma coming back? But, okay, so she drives out to a cliff area. It looks like right off of Pacific Coast Highway, man. I'm telling you, this is San Francisco. But there's a cliff right there by the ocean, and she pops the trunk, and she goes to drag the stuff out, And she hears a car coming, so she drags it and puts it back. And then she does this like a couple times. And she almost gets ready to throw it out. And then another car comes, so she has to hurry up and drag it back and put it away because she doesn't want to get caught. So
she eventually says, you know what, I've had enough of this. She puts it back in the car and she goes back home.
Yeah, but she doesn't close the trunk all the way and literally drives like X amount of miles with this trunk popped up. And if you even remotely glanced through the rear view mirror at least once in that travel, you would have noticed that trunk. Okay? But somehow, some way she didn't notice at all. And then gets out of the car, still does not notice. This time the trunk is like all the way up. I mean, it's all the way up. I don't know if you saw that.
I thought that she grabbed something out of the trunk and she dragged it up the stairs.
Oh, she did. She did. It was the stuff, but she
didn't get the trunk closed, and the neighbor.
She still just said, left it up, and then the neighbor comes over just to be a nosy looky loo, and notices a hand. A chopped up hand in the trunk. So she screams, and I'm assuming that's what triggered, the police or whatever, because Mr. Officer...
Yeah, the detective shows up again.
Yeah, shows up again. This time lets himself in, cautiously walks up the stairs, opens Grandma's door, and what does he find?
He finds Ethel on the floor chowing down on the remains.
Yeah. She
figured... turned cannibal.
I think it was because...
I think she thought that, and this is just my thought process, is that she figured, okay, I got to get rid of these things somehow. I'm hungry. Why not just eat it?
Yeah, I'm thinking that was really the reason why. She figured that would be the only way she could really get rid of these bodies.
I'm sorry, no. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't get how is it that you go from killing people because they locked you up, right, to eating their dead bodies. Okay. I don't get how you go from killing them to killing
I don't know, but you know what? Here's the thing. And we do have to just make sure you guys are aware of this. Right after that, it's the end. I mean, that's
how that one ends.
That's how the movie ends, right there. All right. Now, real quick, what would you rate it? Would you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I actually like the simplicity of this one more.
Yeah, I'm giving it a thumbs up. Yeah. Straight thumbs up. You know what? As a matter of fact, I mean, now that I've seen this is all I needed. This was it.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up. I mean, it was fast paced. I liked it.
One other thing that we have to talk about is that not only was there a remake of Criminally Insane, the original actually had a sequel.
Yeah, now was it the same actress in that one too?
I think so. I didn't look at that particular thing because I have not actually been able to find that one.
Yeah, she immediately started looking. Once we found out that there was an original and then also a direct sequel, she started looking for them and she found the original, but no luck yet on the sequel. We will keep you posted, though, because once we find it, we will review it.
Now, the sequel was done in 1987.
Yes, I do recall you telling me about that.
Yeah. So it's out there. It's just a matter of finding it.
Okay, but I liked it. It kept me entertained throughout the entire thing.
Like I said, though, I like the simplicity of this versus the remake. Sometimes all the violence and the gore is not necessary to tell the story.
Yeah. Now,
and if you've seen anything, on people that supposedly go crazy and stuff, right? Sometimes people don't need to have had anything traumatic happen to them for them to have a wire screwed up somewhere in their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely. But I am still blown away. Okay, this is how far our society is from when we were children, I guess, growing up. You know? And that is the fact that this movie in 1975 was considered so violent it needed an R-rated, rating.
Yes, it had an R rating, but the remake that was done
was just so much more graphic.
Yes.
I mean, right from the very beginning.
Yes, and there's no warning at all.
No, and it was listed as PG-13. I can't get over that. Yeah. I can't get over that. How different things are.
How different they rated movies with things.
Compared to now.
Yeah, compared.
I mean, holy crap, man.
Because you can have all the things that were in the remake that was considered PG-13 at that time. Now you will find all that under R rating.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The way things are going, it's like it's going to take an actual snuff film for it to be considered an R rating. But, okay.
No.
So, I wanted to close this episode with a couple of little things that I saw about this movie. Okay? Now, as far as some of the trivia goes, it said the filming took place for 5 weeks in the spring of 1973. As I was telling you, that's when they actually made the movie. Mm-hmm. Now, they list that one of the goofs is, whenever Ethel kills someone by slicing to death or otherwise, blood is on them, but no wounds are visible, despite the cleaver making contact with skin. And the quote for the movie was, "My heart is just fine as long as my stomach is not empty."
Yeah, that's what she mumbled at your grandma that morning at the table.
Uh-huh. Now, it says there is one connection here, so you may want to write this down here. Okay. But it says that the connection here, it says, is edited into Dr. Bloodbath, 1987. That, you know what? That may be another title for Criminally Insane 2, because that's from the same year.
Edited into...
Yeah, into Dr. Bloodbath. And it's, the doctor is spelled full out.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to leave you with this review here. I wanted you to hear this. Okay? All right. So it says here, bad, yes. Unentertaining, no. It says, Criminally Insane is a surprisingly entertaining film, especially for one that's only 60 minutes long and shot entirely in someone's grandma's house. I originally thought it looked like a home movie until I saw the director's follow-up film, Death Nurse. At which point my opinion of the first film changed entirely. I was then impressed with the luster and sparkle of Criminally Insane. The characters are really interesting, especially Ethel's hooker sister and her abusive pimp boyfriend who dreams of being in the movies. Most interesting, of course, is Ethel herself. Priscilla Alden displaying something almost remotely resembling true movie star charisma. She is a hoot to watch as she hacks her grandma to death out of frustration at finding the refrigerator empty. At only 60 minutes, the plot moves along swiftly, with odd subplots rearing their head, including Ethel's incompetent attempts to dispose of the bodies. Very, very, very interesting, very overlooked. Anyone who doesn't like this movie is a jerk. But overall, I have to agree. It was entertaining. I liked it.
Yeah.
So
I found it more entertaining than the remake.
Yeah. So, folks, there you go. If we ever do come across this Dr. Bloodbath or Criminally Insane 2, whichever, we'll find out more about it. And if we can find it, we'll review it. All right. So, honey, any parting words?
No.
No?
No.
All right. We'll
Just
tell everybody.
Until the next time.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. All right. So if you stayed with us this long, hey, we thank you. So please hit that red subscribe button on your way out. It really means a lot, and it will help this channel. We are going to try and grow, so we'll see what happens. All right. But thanks again, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.